Okay, today we're going to do a real short video on how to use analog inputs 1 and 2 as normal 0 to 5 volt inputs for things like pressure sensors, external wideband sensors, linear position sensors, anything that's a linear 0 to 5 or even a nonlinear 0 to 5. So as you know, when you activate analog 1 or 2, it has a pull-up resistor, so it's used as a temperature input normally. What we're going to do is we're going to use the user table function. We'll call this pressure, and we'll give it a unit of PSI. And you can even make it, any of these analog input channels you want. You can call it engine oil pressure, for instance. So what we'll use this for is we'll right-click on this axis to change the source, and we will go to analog inputs, raw analog input voltages, and we will select user analog input 1. So now we'll 0.5 to 4.5. We'll make it ratiometric like everything else. And so now we have our sensor calibration here in 0.5 to 4.5 voltage. And then we can simply put 0 here and let's say 150 psi there. And then we can linearize that. So that's how the sensor should be linearized for a 0 to 150 psi sensor. Now, if the output impedance of the sensor is not low enough to overcome the pull-up resistor in analog 1 or 2, you may need to put a calibrated pressure gauge on the pressure sensor to verify these values. Here's a way to tell if it's going to be close. If you plug the sensor in normally, so you've wired it up with sensor ground, 5 volts, and then the output of the sensor going into analog 1. If you've wired it up like that and it rests at 0, like room pressure, if it rests at 0.5 volts or very close to 0.5 volts, there's a good chance the normal linear calibration would work. If not, you can use a handheld mini vac pump or calibrated pressure from your compressor and a gauge and just calibrate the sensor yourself.